Thank you for joining us at the ever-improving No Soundbites Allowed podcast. My name is Michael Vasquez. We thank you for joining us in this adventure of describing the politics that go on in our nation on a personal and local level as often as possible, giving you, the audience, more than just 30 seconds to understand what's going on in our nation. We look forward to joining you as we go. Just sit back, enjoy the ride. Please remember, if you like the episodes, like it, share it, let other people know, and if you can, please donate, even if it's $2, even if it's $5, because it all makes a difference. We thank you, and here we go. Hello, everybody. And this is a very special taping of the No Soundbites Allowed podcast. This is your host, Michael Voss, the Dragon of the Southern Tier, and it happens to be, today is January 20th, and it happens to be 12:54 a.m. That's right, I'm doing this first thing in the morning. And approximately 54 minutes ago, the Senate for the United States just had a vote on the budget for the nation, and they voted. Democrats lived up to the promises that were made, just like Anthony Brindisi had mentioned earlier this week, just like Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi had mentioned, that the Democrats would vote to shut down the government. They succeeded. They have shut down the government, and we are now going to deal with those repercussions. Let me say it again. Our government is now shut down. Thank you. It's insane. It's insane, folks, that our government has shut down because the Democrats have a tantrum. This is a political tantrum, that they are upset that they could not get their way. Now, let's be very, very clear here. All right. We are watching our government shut down because the Democrats have decided that 800,000 people are more important than 330 million Americans they are sworn to protect and serve, that they are our representatives, okay? And for 800,000 people, think about this now. Think about it. There are 330 million Americans in the nation, okay? And to be exact, the actual number is 327,075,945 Americans exist right now. And those people are who our elected officials are supposed to represent, not dictate to, not lord over. They are responsible to us. So if 800,000 people, that is 0.2% of the total population of the United States. In fact, that's separate of the United States. They are illegal aliens. They are, by definition, criminals who have actively broken the law and continue to evade prosecution of the law in our land. And if you were to equate that to any other criminal, this would all be absolutely moot. It would be insane. No one would say that the drug dealer on your corner should be absolved of his crimes, his or her crimes, of selling drugs to your kids because some political group thinks they can get the vote of drug dealers. No one would ever accept that. This is a crime. They violated a crime of the United States and want a reward for that. And Democrats are looking for the vote of 0.2% of the nation. And I have to be very clear here. I see this as only one simple thing. Obviously, this was done as a political maneuver. But very simply and very clearly, Democrats, the leadership, and again, I'm not talking about the rank and file Democrats, not the people who work every day for a living and most people try not to pay attention to politics, unlike the political junkie that I am. No, what we're talking about is the rank and file, Chuck Schumer, Anthony Brindisi, Kirsten Gillibrand, Nancy Pelosi, that whole crew, okay, Governor Cuomo, this whole crew, they have decided that they know better than everyone else. And they are answering to and they are serving 800,000 people. They shut down a nation of 330 million people for 800,000 people, which has to tell me that if you're willing to take money, the services of the nation away from that many people, that 0.2% are more important than anyone else. They're not here to serve Democrats. The Democrat leadership are not here to serve the public. They're here to serve a special interest group. And this special interest group has a name. It's called the Dreamers. DACA. That's who they're after. DACA. DACA, the Dreamers. They're here for the illegal aliens. That's who they're looking to serve, not the rest of America. And let's really look at these numbers. Well, I'm going to be going into this, and it's 1 a.m, so I don't know how long I'm going to be awake, but I'll try and go through this as much as I can because I'm very upset. I'm very upset right now. So let's think about this for a second. So there are, at this moment, according to the USDebtClock.org, 39,337,260 Americans who are in poverty right now. And of that number, and for those who are listening to me in Broome County, in Oneida County, in the New York 22nd District, in Broome County, 17.9% of the population, 188,107 people, live below poverty. According to the census, in Oneida County, with Anthony Brindisi, that is 16.3% of the population. I don't have the exact numerical breakdown. So 39 million people, approximately 50 times as many people live in poverty than are DACA dreamers. And Democrats, the Democrat leadership has just decided that 39 million Americans will be able to stay in poverty and not get any help. Let's think about this. There are 57,022,562 Americans who are on Medicare, and they will not be able to get proper medical treatment. 74,726,456 Americans are on Medicaid. They are now in trouble. There are 46,128,836 Americans who receive food stamps to be able to feed themselves and their children. Let's think about that. Children. Kids will not be fed because the government has shut down because the Democrats are serving 800,000 criminals, and they are looking out for those 800,000 criminals, illegal criminals, who have violated our law and without remorse are looking for a reward. This is who they serve. And I don't care how they want to spin this. And they have been telling us for a long time that it's everyone else's fault. Tonight proved the truth. They voted. You cannot spin a vote. The vote was clear. Democrats voted to shut down the government and take food out of the mouths of children, to take it out of the mouths of families. We're talking about 46,128,841 individuals in the United States. And let's think about this. There are 20,994,771 veterans in the United States. They are going to be affected because the government has shut down. These are huge numbers. Again, we're talking about a city. The number of people we're talking about is effectively the city of San Francisco, and oddly enough, a Democrat city. So the size of the city of San Francisco is more important than the entire continental and non-continental United States. That's what Democrats have decided. That's what their vote means. I don't care about the spin. That's what their vote means. There are currently, out of the 327,075,972 Americans in the nation at this time, there are a total of 165,468,715 Americans who are receiving benefits of some sort from the United States government, or were up until we shut down the government. Think about that. 165 million Americans are now not able to receive benefits that allow them to live their lives because the Democrats said 800,000 people are more important. That's over 2,000%. There are 2,000% more Americans that will not be able to be taken care of, who are not being protected, who are not being served the obligations of the oath of office for a member of Congress. They will not be protected. They will not be served. They may go hungry. God help us if anyone dies, because Democrats said that a criminal is more important than an American citizen. That is insane. I don't believe this. Now, it is driving me nuts. It is driving me nuts that we're looking at our government do this. Now, I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to come back because I need to drink some coffee. It's 1:05 in the morning, but I want to take a break. I'm going to come right back, and let's address the principle that Democrats are actually standing up for. And I'll be able to go over that with you in just 1 second. Bear with me. It's, like I said, early. So it's going to be a little raw here, people. So bear with me as I go through this. Hello, everybody, and thank you for being back with No Soundbites Allowed. And your host tonight is, of course, the Dragon of the Southern Tier, Michael Voss. I thank you for being with me and bearing with me at 1:07 a.m. on January 20th, and the government has just shut down. Now, it's insane. It's insane. And no, I don't have another alarm button, so there you go. But yes, our government has shut down because Democrats have decided that 800,000 illegal aliens are more important than the American public. Now, I've been going through some of the numbers of who's going to be affected, and I want to go over one other. There are currently 23,652,744 government employees. Okay? And because the government has shut down, 23,652,744 Americans are not going to be able to pay bills. Think about it. How's this going to affect our economy? Think of it. That's 23 million plus Americans, almost 24 million Americans, who are not able to pay their rent, who are not going to be able to buy food, who are not going to be able to pay their Christmas bills, who are not going to be able to pay for electricity, for daycare for their kids, for health care, that aren't going to be able to drive their cars, pay car insurance. Think of all the other jobs that are now being affected by this. People who go to get breakfast in the morning when they go to work, that's going to be affected. You're not getting your Dunkin' Donuts. You're not getting your local mom and pop shop, getting an egg and a bagel or whatever it may be that you get for breakfast. They're going to be affected by this. All of the businesses, you bought some furniture from a local store, like in my area, that would be Olam's. Okay, you have layaway or you bought furniture over Christmas. Guess what? You're not paying for it now. Think of all the jobs that are related to these 23 million Americans who at this moment are not able to get work and they're not getting paid because Democrats said 800,000 people. 800,000 illegal aliens are more important than 23 million Americans. I don't care how much you scale down the numbers, it doesn't work. And this is, again, what they were elected to do. They were elected to protect and serve the American people and the interest of the American people, not illegal immigrants from another country who have broken our laws and have no remorse about that. No, that's not in there. It's not in the Constitution or any other document. It says the American public, to protect and serve the American people. But that's another thing. But I wanted to go into what is the principles, because the Democrats now are trying to stand by, there is a principle here. We have to stand up for this. We have to stand for the principle. Let's address that. Let's really look into this. Because I've said it, but I want to be very clear about it. The principle that they have said is that individuals who break the law of the nation have more rights and deserve more, or rather, they deserve more of a reward and they have more rights than American citizens. That's the principle that they are standing up for. Individuals who broke the law are more important than law-abiding citizens. That's what the vote means. When 800,000 people are more important than 327 million people, then the answer is that you're standing up for breaking the law, that laws do not matter, that the goal of the Democratic Party is more important than the people. And that's what it ultimately comes down to. Ultimately, what this comes down to is that the Democratic Party is saying the potential of gaining 0.2% of the population votes, that to get the votes of the city of San Francisco is more important than the entire state of Texas, the entire state of New York, the entire state of Pennsylvania, the entire state of every state in the country. They want to get the votes of one city, and to be able to do that, they're willing to throw everyone else under a bus. That's insane. Now, I don't see how that equates. And I have to ask all the Democrats that are out there, the rank and file Democrats, what do you think about this? Because I know what the Democratic Party is saying. I've heard Kirsten Gillibrand, Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, earlier this week made a promise as late as Thursday saying she's absolutely going to vote to shut down the government because the dreamers, the illegal aliens, are more important than the 19 million New York State residents. That's what she's saying, essentially. That she will shut down the government for 800,000 people because the 19 million that she's supposed to serve, not as important. Not as important. I have to tell you, it makes no sense to me. Where's the principle here? The principle is that we must reward criminals. And that is more important than protecting and serving law-abiding citizens. That is the principle. You can't spin this. There is no spin to this. That is not a principle. That doesn't enrich anyone's lives. The American public is not going to be better by breaking our law, by saying that we reward criminals. That does not improve freedom. That does not improve liberty. That doesn't improve the quality of life of the American people. And certainly shutting down the government doesn't improve the quality of life of the people. And so I want to share with you a couple of things that I said earlier today. One of them is a statement I made on Facebook about 37 minutes ago, and it's currently 1:14 a.m. And I said, Democrats just took food from babies, hurt the sick, and harmed the poor, shutting down the government. Their votes did this, living up to a promise just like Senator Schumer and Anthony Brindisi promised when this political temper tantrum started. The only blame can be to the votes. The only blame can be the votes made knowing the harm to be done, all in the name of political gain. About as many potential votes as the city of San Francisco. Democrats may cheer, run a victory lap, and try to claim a moral high ground that doesn't exist, but the result is still the same. Democrats are punishing the public for not doing as they were told and giving Democrats what they wanted, and rest assured, they will be reaching for your wallet in just a few months when they tell you to vote for them and elect them back into office for the 2018 midterms. Now, that was a statement that you may see that I made, which was on Facebook. You may also see on my Twitter account that I made a statement there as well. And that one reads that if there was any doubt, it is now clear Democrats represent 800,000 illegal aliens and not the 330 million American citizens they were elected and obligated to protect and represent. Not American children, families, military. They planned this, promised it, and made it happen. Now, that's the first emotional thoughts I had as soon as it was determined that the government is shutting down at midnight. And an hour and 15 minutes later, I still have that same opinion. I'm still just as angry. I am angry about this. And let me put this another way. In 2013, and I'm sure this is going to be something that's going to be brought up and has been brought up by several Democrats, the Republican Party shut down the American government for a couple of days. What's the difference? And remember, at that time, Democrats, that's Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, all of the Democratic Party came out and said, this is the most insane thing. How dare you hold the United States hostage for shutting down the government and harming individuals, that this is an act of lunacy and that no one should be forgiven for this because there's no excuse for this. This is what Democrats said in 2013. This is what Chuck Schumer was saying in 2013 when the Republican Party shut down the government. And the reason why was a principle. The Republican Party shut down the government because of Obamacare, in that Obamacare placed the government above the people and mandated an action. Government was telling the public that it must do something and have no choice. That is not an act of freedom. That is an act of dictatorship. When the government can tell you that you must do something, then it can tell you you must do everything. And that is a principle that is not American. So when you say we need to shut down the government because the government has become too powerful and has overreached its bounds, well, then that, I think, is a good thing. Why? Because the end result is greater freedom for the public, for the American people. You are protecting and serving them by allowing them to be free. That was the intent of the shutdown in 2013. That was the principle. Now, you may not agree with it, and I'm not saying that you have to, but I'm saying that is a principle that you can very clearly understand. It is a principle based in liberty, based in freedom, based in the fundamental basics that created the United States of America. Let's fast forward, and we are now in 2018, and the Democrats have just shut down the government to reward criminals, period. Just take out the emotion, take out the spin, because at the end of the day, this is what we're talking about. These are criminals who are asking for or demanding a reward. And the Democratic Party, the leadership, is saying we must reward these people. And if we cannot, the entire American public must be punished. Over 4,000% more people must be punished because the Democratic Party is not getting their way. I'm almost beyond words. I'm not beyond anger. This is insulting. This is aggravating. This is infuriating. How dare they? How dare Chuck Schumer say, well, this is President Trump's fault? That's what he said just about an hour ago, that this is all because of President Trump. No, it's not. You made a promise this week in January 2018 that the illegal aliens were more important than the residents of New York State and every other state in America. You made a decision that you were going to vote to shut down the government. And every other Democrat that voted against this did the same thing. They decided in the House of Representatives, look at the vote count. It's there. In the House of Representatives, in the Senate, the Democrats voted to say illegal criminals, well, redundant, I know, criminals are more important than the American people. That their potential political gain is more important than serving the people who elected them. How can you do that? How can you stand there and look at the public and be able to say that? And let's deal with the consequences a little bit more. I'm going to take another quick break, and then I'm going to come back, and I'm going to finish up this segment because I'm really angry, and I think we need to express this anger, and they need to hear this anger, and that's why I'm doing this at 1:20 in the morning. But I'll be right back in a second with my next segment. Oops, came back a little bit faster than I thought I was going to there. I apologize. But this is what happens at 1:23 in the morning. But folks, you're listening to No Soundbites Allowed, a special episode dealing with the government shutdown. And I am your host, the Dragon of the Southern Tier, Michael Voss, speaking with you about my raw emotions right now, about the fact that the government has shut down because Democrats have decided that the American public is not important, not compared to 800,000 illegal aliens. And I have to tell you, I am pissed off about that. That's right. It upsets me. And I have to tell you, let's think about the consequence of this. If there is even one business in the United States that closes forever because of this, and individuals are put on unemployment because of the government shutdown, this is on the Democrats. If there is one veteran who can't go to the VA and get treatment and dies or commits suicide, which is a huge problem, because they weren't able to see someone because of this government shutdown, that's on the Democrats. If there is one child in America that is not going to be able to get fed because they can't get the food stamps they need, or their families can't get the benefits they're receiving because the government has shut down, that's on the Democrats. God forbid if there is one child that dies for whatever reason, whether it's hunger, the parents can't get transportation to get to a hospital, whatever the reason may be, that they cannot take care of that child because the government has shut down, that is on the Democratic Party. And I don't care how they want to spin this. They shut down the government because they voted to shut down the government to protect and to serve 800,000 criminals. And if there is a single child in America who is negatively impacted, that is on the Democrats. Those who are in poverty are not being helped. They are not being helped by this. Whether or not those 800,000 criminals get a benefit and are rewarded, those who are poor in the United States are not going to be helped. And I want to ask, in particular, candidate Anthony Brindisi, who is running for the New York 22nd District, who also said that he would have voted to shut down the government to protect 800,000 criminals above and beyond the 720,000 Americans that he's hoping to represent, which this does not represent them. It does not represent the people in the New York 22nd District. He would shut down the government for this. And I want to ask him, to the 17.9% of Broome County, for the 16.3% in Oneida County, plus all of the other counties, Madison County, Cortland County, Shenango County, Oswego County, Tioga County. I want to ask him, what do you say to these people? And to Senator Chuck Schumer and Senator Kirsten Gillibrand and Governor Cuomo, I ask you, when you look at the people of New York, those who are poor, those who are on government aid of any amount, those who have children who are hungry, and when they are not able to get the services that they need and they are negatively impacted, I want to know, what are you going to say to them? What can you say to them? That, don't worry, this is worth it because some illegal alien is going to be able to one day become an American citizen. Is that it? Because some illegal alien may vote Democrat in the future, you're going to be better off. That this is a benefit to you today or ever. Really? I mean, think about that. Does that make any sense to anyone? That we have set up, that we are setting a precedence that criminals should be rewarded for their crimes without remorse because they're more important and their potential votes are more important than the people they are elected to serve. How dare you? That is insulting. It's aggravating, it's insulting, it's infuriating. I said that before and I'm saying it again because I can't get over it. This is, I don't understand the logic and I don't see how this can be explained. And I don't care if you like President Trump or not. I have problems with him just as many other people do. I don't think he speaks well. I don't like that he has Twitter. He's had success. Doesn't matter. And he's getting beat up by the media. Fantastic. Doesn't matter. This isn't about President Trump. It has nothing to do with President Trump. In fact, it doesn't even have to do with immigration. This isn't about immigration. The Dreamers are not immigration. This is a criminal offense. This is about law and order. Ultimately, at the end of the day, that's what this argument is about. What is the rule of law? Can elected officials pick and choose which laws they want to enact just because they have a personal or political preference? Just because you don't like the law doesn't mean that you can just throw it away as an elected official. That you can just say, there is no consequence that I have to worry about. I'm just not going to do that, no matter what it means to all of the people that I serve. That is not your job. That is not the obligation that they have when they were sworn into Congress. Not at all. Their obligation is to protect and serve and to abide and enforce the laws of this nation. And in the case of Congress, to be able to enact laws to better serve and protect the people of the nation. Keep noticing that same thing coming out of the nation, the citizens. It didn't say illegal aliens, didn't say people across the sea, some other country, someone visiting. The citizens, the people of the United States. That is their priority, or that is what's supposed to be their priority. And instead of that, we're seeing that Democrats are choosing to have as a priority criminals who have broken our laws. I mean, I have to keep saying this over and over because I'm seeing in the news how they keep saying this is something the Republicans are responsible for. I keep seeing people who are saying, well, it's the Republicans because they're majority. Guess what? No, they're not. This isn't a super majority. I understand it's politics. People don't pay attention to this all the time. It's not as simple as having 50 plus 1. It's not that simple. I wish it were. But Democrats changed the rules a few years ago. I know a lot of people miss that. And it takes 60 votes, not 50 in the Senate, which means that we lost. The people lost. Democrats, because they're in the minority, chose to pick criminals over the public. I don't know how better to make that clear. And every repercussion from this is on them. And I hope they can look the American people in the eye and at least be honest enough to say that they made a choice, that they picked the side of the criminals, and the fact that they want to reward those criminals is more important to them than the people, than any of the people who are in poverty, than any of the people who are on government aid, any of the people, the veterans who have bled for our nation. None of that is as important as 800,000 illegal aliens. That's what they're standing on. That's the sword they want to die on. This is what they have picked as their fight. This is the most important thing to them in the world, and I have to believe that because not only have they said it, they shut down the government for it. They devastate, there is no question. Shutting down the government takes only about 3-4 days, and it is a significant, massive factor. They made a choice. This is their issue. This is their stand. This is what they think is important. 800,000 criminals. 800,000 criminals are more important than everyone else. This isn't about immigration. This is about law enforcement. The law says they are criminals. They don't get a reward for being criminals. I'm sorry, I may be repeating myself a bit. Maybe I'm just going over, and I know there's some gaps in here in the conversation as well, but it's 1:32 in the morning, so please forgive me for this, and I'm very emotional about it, but I just can't get over it. I can't get past this. How do you justify this? It doesn't make sense to me. I don't think it will ever make sense to me. And hopefully by the morning, I would love to see that there's another vote in the Senate and Democrats come to their senses and they decide, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to respect and protect and serve my citizens that I was elected to take care of, and that they're going to go and authorize the government to be able to continue. But that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. The reality is Democrats have made their stand, and their choice is not you. Not you, the American citizen who's listening to this. It's just not. Their choice is an illegal alien. 800,000 of them. I don't have words for that. And you know what? It's 1:34 in the morning. I'm going to stop now because I'm too aggravated. And I pray for all of us. I hope that no life is lost because of this. I hope that no child goes hungry because of this. I hope that there is no Social Security recipient, no elderly family or individual that goes hungry or loses their home or is ill because of this government shutdown. I can't say that that's going to happen. Not when 165,468,848 Americans are in peril. I can't say that they won't be affected negatively. And I hope that the Democratic Party, the leadership, are able to look themselves in the face, in their mirrors in the morning, that they are able to sleep at night knowing that they have just put 165 million Americans in peril because they want the vote of 100,000 criminals. But that's no Soundbites loud. And I am the dragon of the Southern Tier, and I'm tired, and I'm going to let you go. And we'll be back very, very soon. Thank you.